everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are back talking about Turner and Hooch. It's very exciting. This is the series. We already did the first 5 episodes. And so now we're talking episodes 6, 7, and 8. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Amber is here.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm just living the best life I can.
That's right. Very good. That's good. So let's dive in. We have 3 more episodes of Turner and Hooch to talk about. Are you still super pumped about the show? Are you still enjoying it?
I really am.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so ready to just blow this out of the park. Let's dive into it. Let's get messy.
All right. Well, so episode 6 is called The Furgitive.
I did not kill that man.
Yeah, that's right. And the one sentence summary on IMDb is Scott searches for a dangerous fugitive in the woods. Hooch discovers the suspect's secret. So overall, what did you think about this episode?
I thought it was great, but I'm not wrong in that they missed doing an homage to that line, right? Could have been any moment in the episode where they were like, I don't care.
Right. Yeah, there was no, I did not kill my wife, similar synonymous moment.
Which I think was a real, that for me, this could have been outstanding. And I think it really, I was just like, are we going to get it? Are we going to get it? We're not going to get it.
I do think Scott's job seems like the worst. I would hate his job. He spends most of his time babysitting people, watching them, and I don't know, hunting down people, trying to find people, and I don't know. It seems very not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of what you like to call indoorsy and also sort of uninterested in what other people are doing.
Yeah.
So, right, a job where I have to actively run people down and also pay attention to what other people are doing is not really in my wheelhouse.
Well, and I don't think when you go get your training to be a detective, to be a police officer, you think you're going to spend the whole time babysitting people.
Well, I mean, but as a U.S. Marshal, you are the Marshal Service, right? Is taking witnesses into custody. I mean, or it's all that. You sign up.
I guess
for that,
that's true.
So.
Yeah, that's true. So, what did you think of Guacfest? Did you want to?
Hey, wait! Guacfest is not till the next episode. Oh wait, are we doing not episode 1? Is Guacfest episode 6?
I have written down in my notes celebrating Guacfest. His mom is here. The little boy has Guaco the maid.
I swear that's episode 7. Am I wrong?
I don't.
It doesn't matter. It happens in either one. I want to be part of Guacfest so much. I mean, to be fair, I just want to be part of any sort of festival.
Yeah, I was like, did they just co-opt a Hallmark festival that was also shooting in Vancouver?
But now it's been so long since I've watched the original Turner and Hooch, and they're like, did he love guacamole in the original Turner and Hooch?
I don't know. The guaco lemonade.
I feel gnarly. That couldn't be if you just made sort of an avocado lemonade, I don't think that would be terrible.
Yeah, if you
did it right.
If you put it through a sift, to get rid of the pulpy, you know what I mean? So it was it looked kind of like a smoothie.
Sure.
It looked too thick.
But even if it was just I feel like the issue is that it was a guacamole lemonade. So you can't put in cilantro and avocado and
tomatoes and
lemonade.
Yeah. And
although I guess if you're, I don't. Let's just stop. We can salvage it. I feel like I could make a good guacamole lemonade recipe.
Okay. I'll come over. Have some. So their dad's best friend is named David, and he
Officer Winslow.
Right, and I feel like that was a mistake to not have him on the Die Hard episode.
I think we mentioned that when we talked about it, but it was absolutely, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Um, but but yeah, so he's also looking for the same files that they're looking for,
Yeah.
and
I don't even understand the universe. Like, I don't even get, I don't even understand Lara thinking he was a bad guy.
well, and he works. Is he the mayor or works for the mayor
He's the
or
mayor.
he's the mayor? Yeah. So she goes over
He runs a
to
business of repute. He is the mayor of this town.
little Les Mis there.
Just
Um, so they go over there, and Laura gets all of this info off of the mayor's desk, of David's desk. And Scott's like, any information you find would be part of an illegal search. And that is accurate.
that is accurate.
Because if she just, like, you can be an amateur sleuth and you don't, like, if you're, like, if you're not trespassing and you're just, like, looking through normal research and you find stuff and you ask people questions, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when you're actually trespassing and obtaining things without stealing things from people, that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, it's absolutely like it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Is it the fourth?
Oh gosh, now
Unreasonable
you're gonna
searches
make
and
me.
seizures.
I I don't know. I should know that. I should. But you also have Xavier with the scouts, which totally cracked me up. I thought that was really funny. He's just like, I mean, I would be the same way, trying to corral a group of young people like that. That's not my strength. I don't know. I thought it was funny. And and
Sorry,
then
I'm a terrible co-host. I was trying to figure out what part of the Constitution it was.
it's okay.
Just like
Let
it
it
is the
go.
fourth.
I
It's the
don't
Fourth
know.
Amendment. The Fourth Amendment. It's the fourth.
Okay. See, this is proof. And we all knew that Amber's smarter than me, but now we
Well,
know.
am I? I just spent like 2 minutes googling it.
But yes, so Xavier is with the scouts, and that was kind of our comic relief for this
Okay.
episode.
Well, not only that, like this episode, I think gave us a lot of Xavier. So his time with the scouts was funny. Him just taking whatever T Dog was thrown at him.
Yeah.
And
Dog.
just like not only that, but like making the best of the situation.
Hmm.
It was amazing. And I loved that we got to learn more about Xavier's past in the military and all of this stuff about him. I thought it was a really strong episode for Xavier, and
Hmm.
I think Brandon J. McLaren knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Well, and it was good too when the boss basically like stood up for him and said, "What are you doing leaving, making this guy just wait there?"
Yeah, when he's like got this background that's
Hmm.
similar and he's like all of these resources. And I love that Xavier was like, well, we have to call it in. And Scott's like, what? And he's like, no, it's fine. Hello? He's not gonna answer. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, that was good. So the fugitive has a dog, and Hooch
Yes.
smells the other dog, and it's named Trooper.
Which is a
And
really cute dog name.
yeah, that is a cute dog name. And basically, this fugitive has been evicted, and uh, Trent basically like storms this cabin that he's in, and he's got like this. They're ready for this whole stakeout situation, and 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 so Scott tries to tell him like he's in the middle of a mental health crisis, and Trent says, "Well, he's just a psycho," and Scott says he's not a psycho, he's a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And so that it was a good Scott moment. He's like, "We're going man to man, dog to dog."
Yeah.
That was good. That's very good.
I feel
And
like as far as the storyline, the like case, we'll call them the cases,
mhm,
right? As far as the cases goes, I think this is my actual favorite of the cases.
mhm. It was like I really liked Die Hard one. That was really fun,
No,
but
Die Hard was fun, but I feel like even that, like the little girl, I mean, she was supposed to be a little bit
mhm,
extra, but like she was a little extra for me.
yeah.
And I don't know. I felt like this one was
This
the
one's a good one.
strongest of the cases.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Because there was a heart to it with this fugitive, with this trooper, this soldier who is having this crisis, and he doesn't want to have to give up his dog, and he's upset that that if Trooper's not going to get the care he needs, and so Scott tries to talk to him, and
And Deus Ex Erica, instead of
yeah,
Deus Ex Machina, comes in and she's like, I can take care of the dog. And you're like, absolutely, she can. What can she
mhm.
not do? She's perfect.
Yeah, and Erica watches Hooch. She also teaches Scott how to waltz in
Yeah,
this
and let's
episode.
talk about Scott being so dense. Like, how does he not know?
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe you just like sometimes you don't second guess kind of this situation that you're in, and then in retrospect, you're like, "How could I be so stupid?"
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And like, so and
I
the
would
thing
know.
about this episode is like, he's trying to be so fancy, right? For her. And it's really reminding me of Anne and Gilbert, um, and Royal Gardner.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
And
comparison.
specifically in the musical Anne and Gilbert, where Gilbert sings a song called Hot House Flower, and he's like, you
No.
once told me you could never love a flower that you couldn't live with. And
Oh.
like, she'd never be happy with a hot house flower. And like, Scott's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be happy with this like fancy, high maintenance gal who like
Mm-hmm.
needs to like whose family's like, oh, you don't know the difference between the waltz and the American smooth and Vienna waltz. What's wrong with you? Like, that's not where
Yeah,
he's going to be happy.
it's
And I'm not
true.
saying there's anything wrong with her because she's that way. Like, you can be fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine that Brooke is fancy, but like, it's not right for Scott.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's obviously she's obviously a placeholder because you
Yeah,
can't have him get together with Erica now because this is the beginning of the show, and so you
whatever.
need to stretch it out.
She's Royal Gardner, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
just fall in love with Gilbert already, you stupid Anne.
I mean, now I know I need to check out the Anna Green Gables musical. I have.
Okay, it's amazing. I don't know that they put it on anywhere other than Prince Edward Island, but like
Oh,
during the
really?
summer seasons of Prince
That's
Edward
so
Island, they
cool.
like always put it on every year. It's the greatest thing in the whole world. They do have the soundtrack on iTunes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Cool. I'll
ugh,
check it out. So they are able to get uh the soldier out of the the cabin because Scott says he will get Trooper the care he needs, and then Trent is sent to Humboldt County for his handling of the case and making Xavier sit, which was really funny. Like, and he wants to be called Big Dog.
it's so funny.
um, and so then you have Laura that's at dinner with David. So they have a whole thing, and you have David going down to the basement and trying to look through their dad's stuff, looking through the case files. And so then they say that your father was watching something when he had the heart attack. So they
Hmm.
the clues are adding up.
The plot
The
thickens.
plot thickens. That's right. That's good. So that was basically this episode.
But
Uh,
I did think it would be fun to share with you this trivia fact from
mm,
IMDb, which is that when Scott is getting a glass of water for Brooke, three books are visible on the shelf next to the fridge: The Da Vinci Code and Inferno by Dan Brown, and Catch Me by If You Can by Frank Abagnale Jr., all of three which were turned into films starring Tom Hanks, aka
mm,
the original Turner.
very clever. I have not seen any of those movies. I missed like the whole Da Vinci Code thing. That all happened when, like, the book all happened when I was on my mission,
Mm-hmm.
and then I never watched any of the movies. It was just that was
Well,
like
you
a
should
whole.
watch Catch Me If You Can.
I've seen Catch Me If You Can.
Oh,
I have
okay,
not
that's
seen
fine.
any of the Da Vinci.
I think the Da Vinci Code is like fine to fun, but like
Mhm.
Catch Me If You Can's like delightful.
Mhm. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah. I have seen that one. But yeah, there you go. Look at that. So it was a fun episode. And so what would you give it 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'd say. Mm, this is tricky for me because I think I liked the case more. Actually, no. We had the whole hothouse flower storyline. This is like an 8.7 for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
The Laura stuff was really irritating me. But like, I
Mm.
mean, 8.7 ain't bad.
Right. So let's go
Well, you didn't say what you
on.
could do.
I think I will give it 8.5. I think that I feel good about that.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool, cool.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies Podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Right. Next episode is called To Serve and Protect.
Yes.
And it's Scott works security for a beloved senator while Hooch becomes a viral sensation. So this also starts out with the Guac Fest. So that's maybe where there was the confusion.
Oh, there was 2 Guac Fest episodes.
Yeah.
They were just talking. They were prepping it for it last time, and this is when it happens. So,
So
like the Guac Fest, Guacamole Fest, I don't know what they call it. It's amazing. Like all the lime green balloons, everything about it. I was all in on the festival.
It was pretty cute. I liked it. And they start out there. Brooke is there, and they meet the senator, and she introduces herself as Scott's girlfriend. So that was kind of a moment. And he
I was like, oh no, she did. Dang it.
So basically I forget what they called it, but he makes this PowerPoint, and because Brooke tells him he should go for it, he should have initiative, and he gets the job protecting the senator. But then nobody wants to be on his team because they're all mad at him because he went above the chain of command, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like fully get it.
And
I fully get the other people being like, no, that's not how this works. Holmes, I get it.
Has he not been at this? I forget. Has he not been at this position very long, so he wouldn't know that?
No. Well,
He's
no,
new.
because he's new, and he was partnered with what's her face. Why can't I remember? I should know her name. Jessica. Like at the beginning, and she was like his training partner.
Yeah,
and like all of the references to him are basically that he's new.
it's hard because on the one hand, you want to take initiative. You want to try to. You don't want to wait around for other people before you get an opportunity.
But there's a difference between initiative and using connections to have someone come in from up above and like grease the wheels. Like absolutely the other people would be resentful of that.
Yeah.
It's not merit based. It's I know Becca's dad.
Right. Yeah, that's
Brooke,
true.
I guess
That's
her name's
true.
Brooke. Becca's the actress, not.
So nobody wants to work with him, and Erica and Jess talk, and I guess how do I chill around him? I don't know how to chill. That was good. I thought that was a good scene.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, she's really cute. And we have the assistant of the senator doesn't like Hooch from the beginning, which makes you suspect him early on.
Yeah,
That
and
he's no
also
good.
like he's like the wrong guy a lot, right? Isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Matthew Kevin Anderson. Yeah, that's true. Or like the other guy at the office kind of a thing. He's in a bunch of Hallmark movies.
Yeah, he's like the competitive office
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
or the wrong guy,
Mhm.
or
Yeah, that's true. And Hooch starts howling the Star Spangled Banner, and it becomes this viral sensation.
yeah.
So then we have this whole thing with Laura that she's trying to get more info from this guy named Murph. And Laura, there's a lot of Laura in this episode.
Yeah.
She goes to the warehouse.
Although I do really like Murph, the records guy,
Mhm.
the records clerk. I love him. I would love if we had to get records from him all the time. I don't know what it was about him, but just like he was the best. I loved him.
Yeah, he was funny. I liked him too. And yeah, and then Grady follows her into the warehouse, and then we get all of this drama with the warehouse. And then she says, this case is all I have left of my dad."
Yeah, which helps. I mean, it does help inform her actions a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Because I have been very irritated with her. That being said, like, even if it is like a grief response, you gotta take less weird risks, lady.
Yeah. So then we have this whole scene where there's this suspect at the senator's house, and there's this chase scene where Scott is chasing them, and so there's this intruder,
Mm-hmm.
and then they when they get the suspect has no weapon, and there's this long chase at the convention center that they're at the next day through the kitchen. Like, that was a pretty well done chase scene.
Sure.
It was long.
Yeah. But I'm gonna be honest, like, even though like the chase scene was like fairly fun, and like Scott did a fun job leaping over the things, and this was I think this is my least favorite of all of the cases.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
what
know.
it was, just not that interesting for me.
Yeah, it was a little predictable, I think, is the thing about it. Uh, but yeah, I thought I was like, wow, it just keeps going. It's really long. And you have Hooch interrupting the senator's speech, and then there's, like I said, the whole chase. But then Xavier says, "I usually get tingles when the case is closed. No tingles. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to relax when you know something is coming." And there's this whole when Scott is interrogating the suspect. There's this whole laser sword, the weapon of the intergalactic warrior, which I thought was kind of funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, this is a Disney show. Just say Star Wars,
That's a great point. That's a great point.
right?
Like they couldn't get the rights from themselves.
So, and I did think it was so funny the way that Hooch kept eating Chiefs awards. That made me laugh. I thought that was funny. And he's getting so irritated. And he's like, maybe they'll give Hooch an award so he'll stop eating all my awards.
Yeah. So I did not enjoy that part of the
Really?
storyline, but that line at the end was very funny to me.
That made me laugh. And so then we have the Scott asks Xavier for help, and he says, "I'm sorry, what I did," and then the senator ends up passing out,
Mm-hmm.
and their solution for how to wake up the senator is to pour gravy on her so that Hooch can lick her.
Yeah, I do not understand. That was I was
What?
See, this episode was this episode was not for me. I don't know who it was for, but it was not for me.
Yeah. This was kind of your classic, I would say, a filler episode where they're just moving a lot of plot threads around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because really we did get a lot of plot in this episode between Laura and Scott and Xavier, and I mean, all the characters have like quite a bit of growth in this episode. But
I mean, I feel like this episode served the like the dad plot a lot.
Yeah.
The mystery of what was Tom Hanks trying to solve.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it did a great job with the rest of the smaller stuff.
Right.
Do you disagree or do you agree?
No, I agree. So then Scott goes to check out the warehouse and Grady is there and he says, "You're in a lot of trouble, man." So it kind of ends with a little bit of a cliffhanger kind of a situation.
Yes, so. But I wanted to talk about this because, I mean, he's in trouble because he followed the dog in, right? And the dog jumped in on itself. But we actually just had, in the state of Utah, is it the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals? Let me look. It's the Utah Court of Appeals just published an opinion where a canine jumped into a suspect's car during just like a routine search because they had their windows down because the dog smelled like marijuana and other drugs. And they were trying to say, like, you know, this evidence that they get should not have been permissible because they didn't have probable cause for the dog to jump in the car. And the Court of Appeals said that because the dog acted instinctively based on its training and they weren't like coaching the dog to jump in or anything like that, that it was permissible.
Interesting. There you go. I did not know that.
I mean, like, it literally just came out on the 8th.
Interesting. All right. Well, what would you give this episode 1 to 10?
I'm gonna give it's like I'm gonna temper this with a little bit. I actually really liked what Paul Campbell as Grady did in this episode. I thought he was pretty fun when we had his moments, but I also liked that he was like, "Laura, you can't investigate this case. It's dangerous." Right?
Yeah, I mean, she is being very pig-headed because not only is Grady telling her, but Scott's telling her, like, everybody's telling her, stop doing this.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it was a great episode for Paul Campbell fans, but overall, I'd say it was like a 5.
Ooh. I mean,
I know. I just like the storyline was the case.
Yeah. I think I would say
a lot of time on the case.
Yeah. I think I would say like 6.5. Be a little
You can
more
be
generous.
nicer than me. That's fine.
All right. The last episode we're going to talk about is called ARF Appreciation, and Scott must prove his dog's innocence when Hooch is accused of damaging a valuable painting. Yes. And so overall, what do you think of this episode?
Oh, this episode, I was all up in my feels.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't think that Hooch was going to get fired. And like from the minute the dog was excited about that painting, I was like, obviously there's drugs in there. I mean, right? You knew that. There wasn't any doubt in your mind, was there? Were you like, oh, reveal?
No, I mean, I figured there was something that was going on with the painting, and I thought maybe it might be kind of something in the actual paint, or maybe something like that. But yeah, I mean, I thought that it was a pretty good case though for this. Like, obviously,
it was fun, I like finding out like who the bad guy was and how they did it.
Yeah, the how they put it all together, that was, I thought, pretty good, pretty fun. And so you have this whole scene at the beginning with Scott talking to the head of the factory person. I forgot his name. You know,
Walton Hollis.
Walton. And so then there's the fugitive, and so they chase the fugitive with Hooch. And there was another pretty good little opening to the episode, I think. And then you also have Jess and Erica talking, and she says, I gave him too hinty of a hint. And, and Jess says, you're letting him take advantage of you. And she's like, he's so cute. And I forget about being annoyed.
No, I fully agree with everything Jessica was saying.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with the don't be a doormat, the don't light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and I actually am a little surprised that they had her this confrontation. Even though it wasn't a full confrontation, there was at least some acknowledgement and he apologized and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised they had it so fast. I mean, this is still only, episode
8.
episode 8. So that was kind of surprising. And basically, Scott is assigned with a different agent to go through this money laundering guy's assets. And that includes these paintings. And that's how it starts. Starts going, and it's very boring. They're just going through all these assets. And so Scott.
I mean, I know that I know that the dog is the premise, but sometimes I just wonder why can't Scott go without the dog somewhere?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess when he left him in the apartment, it destroyed his apartment. But you'd think that he could have some kind of. I mean, I guess he wants to leave him with Erica, but he can't always do that. But he ties Hooch up, but Hooch rips through his leash.
Yeah.
And then he gets accused of destroying all this stuff. And he says there's no way that Hooch could have destroyed all that stuff, which
I actually really enjoyed his presentation of
that was
why
good.
Hooch was innocent. Yeah.
He's good with the PowerPoints.
But he did fail to provide a credible alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Just being there might have been another dog. That's not what dog? Why would there be a dog? Give me those things, sir, to prove the dog's innocence.
Right. And there's more of the chewing up the awards, which I thought was really funny. And then Laura, she ends up talking to the factory owner guy and in her office. And she realizes that he's basically like a red herring. He's not a bad guy. And Laura says, am I a cliche? So she is kind of worried. And then when Jess says that you're taking Erica for granted, she finally tells Scott, which I thought was a good moment.
Okay, hold on real quick. Let's circle back to Laura. Let's say Laura had a Hallmark series where she was solving murders.
Mm-hmm.
What would its name be?
To see, she's a vet tech person. Because usually it has something to do with their jobs.
Vet tech detective. That's terrible. But no, what would it maybe we should ask anyone who's listening to give us a name. But right? She'd have a name.
Yeah. I have to think about that. If you're listening and you have any ideas, let us know. Okay. Anyway, so then we have he's trying to get a dog sitter for Hooch, and he apologizes to Erica Scott, and he figures out that the fact that Hooch peed in different places shows that there was another dog there, and that there was something else going on. And then Erica tells him about the fact that dogs have a face print that's unique, like a thumbprint. I didn't know that.
Yeah, is that true? I feel like they wouldn't just make that up.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, I feel like they wouldn't just make that up, like you said. And so then the assistant guy at the warehouse holds up Scott with a gun, and it's this, he does your classic sort of monologuing,
Mm-hmm.
explaining his big scheme. And they have 1.2 million with stolen goods that they find with this
Yeah.
guy.
I will say this though, the confrontation with the bad guy in the warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
the okay, I guess I should clarify which bad guy in which warehouse. The guy at the end who had
Mm-hmm.
Scott
The
hostage,
assistant
right?
guy.
Yes. The accounting, what's his name? Inventory guy, the inventory
Yeah.
guy. I felt like it was like a little bit more intense than I had been grown accustomed to in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree, or am
Yeah,
I
I
just
can, no, I can
crazy?
see that. And because Xavier, you're just like, when is he going to get there? Like they held it for quite a while. It took a
Yeah.
while.
And I
So,
love that Xavier just like showed up.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that guy is the best.
Yeah.
I
And
want him to get all of the awards so Hooch can chew on
two of
those.
them. And then at the end, Laura brings Walton, the factory owner guy, brings him cookies that she made. So they basically made up. So
Well,
yeah, there we go.
no, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
They bring him the cookies, then Hooch freaks out and they're like, no way. Hooch did not like that guy. He's a bad guy.
Oh, maybe I was just tired by the time I finished that.
It's like, what are you talking about?
I was like, oh, they made up with the
He sold you
cookies.
hook, line, and sinker, huh?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You're like, oh, the random cookies. Episode's over. My work here is done.
Very good. Well, what would you give this episode?
This episode, I'm so conflicted, but I think I'll probably give it like an 8. I felt like the final reveal was fun, even though like ultimately I knew like there was going to be drugs or something in the painting.
Mm-hmm.
So then like the case didn't drive me crazy. I know it was like a lot of filler, but I felt like it had a great purpose, which was showing like he's useless without Erica.
Yeah.
And then I also really liked it for Erica that she set some boundaries, even though ultimately, I mean, she sort of caved, right? But
But
I
at
think
least
that
he
just,
apologized. I mean,
yeah.
that was something.
Because, I mean, if he doesn't return her feelings or whatever, that's one thing. But him, like, canceling on her and her rearranging her schedule for him and all that stuff, that's the stuff that's not acceptable.
Right.
When
Yeah.
it, like, forces her to change her life so that she can,
Mm-hmm.
keeps lighting herself on fire to keep someone else warm. Whereas if it's just,
Mm-hmm.
like we can still do all of this stuff and I can like be here for you professionally and also still be your friend, but like you can't treat me like I'm garbage.
Well, and she also sends him to this guy
Guy.
that makes him realize that how much better she is than this other guy,
Yeah.
literally named Guy.
I did wish that we had more Curtis in this episode.
Which
Her
one was
brother.
Curtis? Oh, yeah.
I felt like it would have been a really good time to have him, especially since he overheard Scott saying all of that stuff. Right?
That's true.
Like I felt like there should have been a scene where Curtis was like talking to Erica about this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like we've got robbed of that, right? That didn't happen.
I didn't have it in my notes, so.
Well, but you also didn't know the bad guy was the bad guy, so who knows what episode you saw.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I think an 8 is fair for this one. I enjoyed it. And so let us know what you think. If you're listening, let us know what rating you would give each of these 3 episodes. How do you like the show so far? And Amber, how can people find you?
Oh, they can't. I'm an enigma. But if they're really clever, they can find me as Amber Brainwaves on Twitter.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check all of that out. And also make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all of our social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store and our patron group, and we really, really need that support right now there, especially with the holiday season coming up. So take a look at that. And
Speaking of the holiday season and the merch store, make
Mhm.
sure you get the 9 Lands of Christmas tee in advance of the 9 Kittens of Christmas.
Yes.
Designed by the one, the only, the Hallmark.
That's right. We put a link to that in the description. We might not have it that much longer. You just have to get it now when you have the chance. So, thanks so much, everybody, and we'll talk to you all for once we get the final 3 episodes. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.